With us on SkyviewSports.net, Steve Sweitzer. Steve, you're a NASCAR insider, and well, I tell you what, you've been taking in all the races I have this year. Martinsville was a dandy last weekend, and what do you think?
Yeah, Martinsville is just a great place to watch a race. And Denny Hamlin was just spot on all day long. He had his car set up perfectly, and of course, he knows how to drive. And he really, I think, showed the field what a dominating performance looks like.
Yeah, he was in the top 10, 399 out of 400 laps. He led 275 laps during the race. And the only time he really wasn't there a couple times he was passed momentarily, but he got the lead right back. And of course, he was in the top five, and he just he dominated, and it was really quite a performance. Christopher Bell has been all or nothing so far this year, where he's won three races, he's had a DNF, he's had a couple where he had accidents. So he finishes second, so either he's there or he's way in the back of the field, and that's why he's down there in points, like fifth or sixth, even though he's won three times.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Martinsville. I've been there many times. Looking forward to going back again this year for the final just before the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And the if you're a diehard stock car fan, this is someplace you need to go and watch a race. Martinsville is flat, essentially. It is almost impossible to pass. It is very, very difficult to get around the car in front of you. Now you go to Bristol, and with the banking there, you can get runs in different grooves, top of the track, bottom of the track, depending on how your car is set up and how rubbered in the track is. But at Martinsville, the only way you get around somebody generally is with the bumper, and so you don't get to see that on television because they're primarily focusing on the leaders, and the leaders are leading for a good reason. They've got a car that's able to move away from other people in the field. But if you sit there and watch back in the pack, it's like every pass involves, up on the back end of somebody, tap them on the bumper, move them out of the way, move them up the track, get your nose underneath them to make the pass. It is just a great place to watch real, you know, Friday night like action stock car racing.
Denny Hamlin won at the track several times early in his career. It's been 10 years until Sunday when he won. And he was asked at the post race presser, how he's mastered the track over with different vehicles. He's passing information on to his team, and every time he thinks he knows what he's doing at the track. NASCAR changes things, and so but he's back, and he kind of talks about that and how that information he hopes to keep some of that a secret till fall.
Um, I've been able to win in many different types of cars and many different types of tires and aero changes and all that stuff. But, one thing is constant with this small of a racetrack, the approach that you make to be fast here is still the same. So my dad always used to tell me when we used to race different kinds of cars, he's like, it's just a different machine. Figure out how to make that machine go fast. And I know how to make speed at this track. It's just what do I need to get this next gen car to work and operate like I need it to make the lap time. So it's taken a little bit longer. Yes, advantages that whoever finished in the top five is going to be studying our information from now to October, and they're going to be better because of it. So I have to figure out how to get that little bit more of an edge over the field. And so, was my car perfect today? No. There's definitely things that we can do to make better, and I enjoy that process of continuing to get better even on weekends we win.
Yeah, well, there are a few secrets still left in the sport, but everybody will be looking at the data and the statistics on his run on Sunday, and I think that's great for the sport because boy, it just provides more competition between the teams, between the drivers, and it's really close, and that close competition is what makes that, great racing, fun to watch.
And with that, Steve, we are going to be back in 30 seconds. We're going to take a look at the track that's too tough to tame, Darlington, this week. That's upcoming right after this.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Well, Steve, Darlington comes up, race 8 on the NASCAR schedule. We're almost a quarter of the way there after the next weekend and a half. And the track that's too tough to tame, Darlington, is next on Throwback Weekend. And that is like a driver's track. All the drivers love this track, or at least most of them do. And it's a very unpredictable on who's going to win because we have drivers running up front that you would not expect.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult to pick a winner at Darlington, that's for sure. You have the competition that you have to deal with, but then you have to deal with the track too. You have to race the track as much as you do the competition. And, some guys just aren't up for it for, 300 and some laps to stay that focused.
And with that, Ryan Blaney, he was talking about Darlington, and he said, well, he's got the throwback. There's a lot of great cars out there. I'm going to try to screen capture and show some of them today in post. And anyway, he's going to be taking a throwback of his father Dave's vehicle. And he talks about that right now and how excited he is that he gets to drive a car that his dad, most of the same color scheme he had back in 2005.
Yeah, it was neat to get that out there, and I think the car looks pretty good. We couldn't do the avocado green where it's blue. I was really pushing to have the avocado texture from that car, but we couldn't do that, unfortunately. But no, it's neat. I think the font of the numbers brings back a lot of memories for people. With the Braun race team, and there was a lot of good people on that team. Trent Owen was a crew chief of that car, and Dad and Trent know each other for a long time. It's always good to see Trent around the racetrack. And I unfortunately wasn't there. None of my family was there, which was bizarre. I think my sister had like a basketball tournament. We were there instead of in Charlotte, and it figures my dad wins it and we don't get to celebrate with him. But no, I've been lucky. We did his Jasper scheme from I think 02 or 03 one year, which was really neat. And now to do that one, meaning a lot to him. It's cool that we can do that stuff. So pretty special, and looking forward to getting it out there.
Yeah, the throwback weekend is one of I think the fans' favorites because they get to see these old, paint jobs and styles brought back again with modern sponsors and so forth. And it's just an all around fun weekend. And all the old timers from the sport show up just to make it that extra special.
And with that, let's take a look at some of the drivers that, if you're going to be playing fantasy NASCAR this week, or you just kind of want to have a beat on who's doing what, this is wide open. I mean, Eric Jones won this race 2.5 years ago, and he hasn't won a race since, and he's struggling with legacy right now. And with that, some of the usual suspects are there. Who do you like?
Well, I do like Eric Jones as a dark horse. I'll be keeping a watch on him all day long because he does seem to love the track, and the track seems well suited to his driving style. So I think he's one guy that maybe you want to put in the garage for your fantasy team and see if he can make a run at it. I don't know. There's just so many good cars right now. I do think that you'll see Christopher Bell run well at the track. William Byron is another one that will be very competitive. And Joey Logano. His record at the track is either, super or bad.
Yeah.
But it's that way for a lot of drivers, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we said, the track's a tough one.
Yeah, you mentioned all the drivers that have either won a race or had multiple top fives at the track, and so usually cream rises to the top. You know, you always have kind of an off the wall driver, somebody like a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or an Austin Dillon will surprise you sometimes too. Those are not usually guys that play very often in fantasy or you're up there toward the finish anymore. Very rarely, except for like tracks like a Darlington or at Daytona or someplace like that. So with that, it's going to be interesting. It's not going to be like where Miami, where we all figured Kyle Larson was going to be up there if he could stay away from the bad luck. Last week, Denny Hamlin was one of the spot-on top drivers there, as well as Christopher Bell. Things played out and all that. Uh, any surprises you've seen on the NASCAR season thus far, Steve?
Well, I'm one of the things that we're 4 years in now with the next gen car, and the thing that keeps popping up to me is the number of issues that teams are having with the single lug nut. This is technology that was used in the IndyCar circuit for a number of years, and I think NASCAR is having a lot of trouble with teams not getting all their lug nuts tight, or in some instances leaving a lug nut off to speed up their pit stops. And I thought and I think they believe that this was a great solution for them to eliminate problems with that. But just like we saw last week, still see teams, where the crew fails to get that lug nut tight, and the driver goes back out on the track and the wheel comes off. So I'm working on a feature story about that. That is something that I think fans would be interested in knowing a little bit more about. So look for that in the Lasco Press coming soon.
Yeah. And so I think this is a great place to end. We can find our NASCAR insider, Steve Sweitzer, at thelascopress.com, where you can find all kinds of great local news. You can find sports, feature stories, and of course, Steve, your coverage on NASCAR. You're a hard copy member, a hard card member, and so you're at most of the races, and so it's always great catching up with you. With that, I guess we'll try to talk here very, very soon out there, and that's it, Steve.
All right, thanks, Roy. Appreciate it.